Welcome back. My name is Kit Laser.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things, covering a patron-chosen movie from Thomas Alexander, Antz.
Antz.
From 1998. You know,
Antz.
This was the first...
Antz.
Antz.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Remember that ad for Ant-Man?
No.
Oh, is your phone still connected to the Rodecaster?
I think so.
If you tee up what this movie is, I'll tee up this soundbite that I want to play for you.
Okay.
Ants. Ants. Ant-Man. I really just wanted to isolate Michael Douglas going ants. Just anytime we mentioned the whole title of the movie, hitting that, but I didn't have time today.
You got that to put in though.
Yeah, ants. If you guys, for audio listeners, it's literally a promo, and like Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd are like
just slapping their knees.
And apparently the story behind that is they met together just to do like standard, like, hey, I'm Paul Rudd, hey, I'm Michael Douglas, and on whatever date Ant-Man comes out, go check it out in theaters. They were just shooting those type of promos, and the cameras were rolling, and then they just started fucking around. And that's what they did, just like goofing off.
Ants.
But that became the promo because it was so funny.
That's gold.
Yeah.
Ants. It's the movie distilled.
And the best part is, like, if you're not watching that promo, whenever Michael Douglas says ant, it just cuts real quick to to like a BBC documentary shot of an ant. But we're not talking about Ant-Man today, Chris.
No, we are talking about Antz. Thank you, Thomas Alexander. This is the first movie ever that DreamWorks made to compete with Pixar, who had a few years earlier come out with Toy Story and really changed the world of animation forever. And this, okay, I want to say, Thomas Alexander, thank you. I did not have a good time. I had seen this movie as a kid. I have not seen it since. This movie is in no way intended for children.
No.
Not one thing about it would be able to be understood or enjoyed by children, I don't think. The animation itself is uncanny and disturbing and terrible. The main cast member, if the animation doesn't give you the willies enough, is Woody Allen. And that speaks for itself, I think. And the movie is about stopping eugenics and fascism from taking hold.
Yeah.
And I think it's pro-socialism, so I can get with that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what part about this would appeal to children.
The ants, Chris.
This movie's fucking wild. I'm not even going to act like it's not. It stars Woody Allen, Sharon Stone, Gene Hackman, Sylvester Stallone, Dan Aykroyd.
Well, Dan Aykroyd's in it.
Yeah, sure. Jane Curtin.
Jennifer Lopez.
J-Lo.
Danny Glover's
Christopher
in there.
Walken.
Yeah, Christopher. Yeah.
And Bancroft.
You get voice acting legend Jim Cummings is in there.
It's fucking wild. I actually thought J-Lo did a good job of making an attractive ant.
Yeah, if I'm being were you like, oh, hello, Lady Azteca.
I love how you cut in with, yeah, if I'm being honest, wait.
Wait, Chris, would you fuck this ant?
No. It's worse than a furry. What is that, a crawly?
We have to ask that
I think it's
group,
I think it's just a creepy.
A creepy, maybe definitely a creepy. No shade. No king shame.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, this movie is absolutely insanity. Okay, I do not understand how it was greenlit, how it was made. I don't understand how all these incredibly talented people and Woody Allen agreed to be on it.
This is a kid's movie that has the sentence or the phrase erotic fantasies.
Yes.
Delivered by an ant voiced by Woody Allen.
Yeah. An ant, which all the ants are animated to look like fucking scrotums. Like their faces are so
weird.
Weird. And like they all have these like giant bags under their eyes. All the characters are unpleasant to look at and watch.
And there's like a ferocious, awful war scene in this.
Yeah, the war. I saw this movie when I was a child.
Yeah, same.
And the only thing I remember, so this is the first time I've seen the movie since I saw it as a child. The only thing I remember about it is the incredibly awful, violent war scene.
Yeah, I would have been 10 when this came out. And to be fair, I was also watching like Starship Troopers and shit constantly. So this was like nothing. And but it's the ideas. It's the like the Woody Allen therapy existentialist dialogue that I'm just like, who
it's just Woody
thought this was a good idea?
And if you think Woody Allen is lending voice to a character and acting in any way, he's not. He's just being Woody Allen. Where he's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I can't do a Woody Allen. But like, you know what I mean? Where he's always like, oh, shucks, I don't, maybe if people liked me, I'm just trying to do a thing. I'm an ant. Like he's just stumbling.
Like we're just moving dirt all day. I just don't understand. Yeah.
Like there are characters in this movie that like openly call Woody Allen Z. They're like, you get away from me. You're annoying. Go. And it's like, yeah, I hate him.
Yeah. So
also, I hate the character Z.
So it opens up. The ant is in therapy, and that's the narrative premise. Right, that's like, kind of how we get some narration. The animation, like I said, is very uncanny. He doesn't want to be a worker ant.
I do want to say one thing I actually like appreciated that I thought. Like when I sat down to watch this movie, I'm like, I don't remember enjoying this. I only remember the war scene. But then the opening credits, I laughed at. I thought they were clever. It was just a white piece of paper with very tiny font,
a magnifying glass,
and a magnifying glass. I thought, oh, that's cute.
That's good. Yeah,
that's
there's
cute.
a couple good jokes in here too, like the larval position instead of fetal position.
Yeah,
stuff like that. I always appreciate a good pun. His name is Z, and his therapist tells him, "You are insignificant," right? And there's all kinds of funny like. This movie could be I know it's supposed to be a critique of fascism and the support of socialism, but I think it works really well as a critique of capitalism in today's climate. There's all kinds of signs hanging up like conquer idleness.
Yeah.
And the babies, the larvae, are being assigned worker or soldier at birth. There's another sign hanging up that says free time is for training. And
mega tunnel.
Z works alongside a woman played by J-Lo named Azteca, which I don't know why that's her name and everyone else just gets a letter and some numbers.
Yeah, that's true. Cause like Z is literally like Z, a bunch of numbers. But then there's characters like Weaver, Mandible.
Well, it makes sense that the soldiers have more identity and the royalty has more identity.
Well, the Azteca, Bala, Weaver, those Cutter, those names are actually derived from like types of ant species.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Azteca even as a type?
Yeah, I don't have the thing in front of me, but it's like an actual type of. It's like the big Roman or what do you call it? The Greek like long name. Where's it at?
Like genus?
Bala is the name that people in Costa Rica give to bullet ants, which is Paraponera clavatica.
Sure.
That doesn't even sound like Bala.
I'm not a fucking zoologist.
Barbados after the Pogonamyrmix barbatus, a red harvester ant.
Hell
Azteca
yeah.
is named after the Azteca andrea species. Weaver is named after the weaver or green ant. Cutter is named after leaf-cutting ants. General Mandible, obviously a mandible like ant jaws.
You're talking to my guy all wrong.
Talking them all wrong. No, that's terrible.
You do it again,
sir. These workers, they've got the right stuff.
Well, I've got a fever.
The only prescription is more genocide.
So Azteca is working alongside Z. She hits him. You think too much, and it's time for them to form a giant ball, like they form a wrecking ball.
Be the ball.
And Woody Allen's making all kinds of Woody Allen jokes, like it's begging for a lawsuit. You know, even though there's no lawyer.
A lawsuit waiting. Yes, I know. I literally dropped the ball.
Yeah, he said he dropped the ball. It's a joke. I actually appreciated that kind of stuff. The general, played by Gene Hackman, General Mandible.
I do like the cast. Woody Allen aside.
This is a legendary cast.
Woody Allen aside, I think the cast is amazing. I think Sharon Stone is actually pretty awful at voice acting.
Bala?
As Bala? Yeah. There are a couple things where I'm like, oof, girl. They did you dirty in the booth. They should have had you do a couple more takes on that. But everyone else, like I think Gene Hackman is he's so great.
Such a good actor for this.
Yeah, he's so perfect as this like general who's like, I'm very proud. I'm very proud of my stuff, but I want to kill the people I think are worse than me.
Walken's an interesting choice.
Yeah, I was reading some facts, and apparently Christopher Walken was just supposed to be like a stunt cast. Like, oh, we got Christopher Walken to do like 3 lines, but they liked him so much that they actually changed the ending to make that character like have a change of heart and help the clan.
Yeah, which I think works. Even though
got it all
the
wrong.
end kind of happens very summarily, but
Very fast.
I was grateful.
But that is one of the best things about this movie is it's only an hour and 20 minutes long.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Gene Hackman, General Mandible's talking about finishing the tunnel.
They lack commitment.
Or you got to explain to Colonel Cutter. That's pretty decent, Gene Hackman.
4 more days until we bid farewell to their kind.
A fresh start. I'm doing Optimus Prime now.
Bumblebee. We need to get the ants taken care of.
Cutter is Christopher Walken. General wants to attack a termite colony. That's a suicide mission. Exactly. Give me a list of units loyal to the Queen, and they'll all be sent there. That's not sus at all.
Yeah, immediately you don't know what the general's plans are, but you know he's not on the up and up.
Right.
You don't quite know what he's thinking.
He's trying to convince the Queen to declare war. The Queen doesn't want war. And Princess Bala is there as well. They're engaged. They're supposed to get married, Bala and General Mandible. And the princess doesn't want to marry the general. Like, I never get to talk to him. It's never any fun. I don't even know who the guy is other than he likes to kill people.
Can we have a conversation before we're married?
At least the workers get to have fun every once in a while. And she looks across the way at the bar that everybody drinks at. And all the ants were in there just drinking anus juice. One of the soldiers' name is Weaver, played by Sly Stallone, and he's looking for some career girls, those worker girls. At least you get to hang out with those, Z. Yeah, the aphid beer is the anus juice.
Yeah, ew. I do like Z has this one line where he's talking about, like, at least you're a soldier, ant. You get to go to interesting places, meet interesting insects, and then kill them.
Yes. And then the guy next to him, an ex-soldier, says, I've been to Insectopia. That place exists. Head for the monolith. Cross the lake. Look for the land of red and white, which is the, what's it called? Tablecloth, right? It's the red and white. It's the red and white.
Yeah. Actually, thank you for saying that. I actually didn't think hard enough to put that together, but you're 100% right.
It's it just hit me. And so
they must be picnicking a long time out there.
Yeah, it must be like a park area where you can book it out for constant picnics, I'm guessing.
Well, it's supposed to be Central Park.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The last scene in the movie, when it like pans out, they reveal that it's actually Central Park in New York. Yeah.
The princess and friends sneak into the bar, and princess asks Z to dance because even when they're dancing like ants, and they're all like line dancing in unison, and it's like scheduled time.
So weird.
But Z's by himself, not doing it, and so princess asks him to dance. He's like, "Oh well, the royalty are all inbred, don't you know?" And she's like, "Excuse me." So he makes up his own dance.
Youch.
Youch becomes the through line. You don't like youch?
Imagine Woody Allen saying youch, but in a sexy way. Off-putting.
Yes.
No, thank you.
Yes.
Not into it.
I like how he says the guy's built like a pebble because to them that's huge. It's his version of mountain. Right?
Those like size jokes or like the ant jokes that they kind of pepper in throughout this movie. That's the best comedy.
I like the puns.
Yeah, that is the best comedy this movie has.
But this movie's so weird in that, other than having Woody Allen, which you can't push that aside, it's impossible. But if you did, it's so weird that they like choose to honor so many things that like ants are, you know what I mean? Like stay so realistic, or the point of like a Pixar movie is like
to explore
they would have the
story.
The animation would have soft edges. The ants wouldn't be scary as fuck. And they would explore the human qualities of these people instead of like making everything so realistic.
This movie is often spoken in the same breath of as A Bug's Life because they came out the same exact year.
Yes.
And A Bug's Life is a far better film. But like you can't help but compare it because it's like insect movies, both starring ants as main characters. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Like when you look at Pixar's A Bug's Life, all the bugs don't look like exactly how what you would think a bug would look like in the wild. They're like, they have different colors. Like the ants are blue and they're like cartoon characters, and they're expressive and emotive, and they're cute and scary when they need to be. Whereas this movie's like
grasshoppers in Bug's Life are scary.
They're scary. Whereas in this movie, it's like, no, they just look like giant scrotums on weird ant bodies, and everybody looks like a monster.
Especially with Danny Glover's headless Barbados. Yeah. So terrifying. But anyway, so
and Barbados's head is also fucking terrifying. Like just his face in general is horrifying. And so just seeing that on the ground, like, hey kid, like,
am I gonna be okay? It turns into fucking Platoon out of nowhere. Yeah. But Weaver steps in, kicks the guy's ass. There's a big bar brawl, and then he says, "When can I see you again?" And she says, "Never, poor person," and wanders out.
See you poor.
And then he's in love. He's working in love. He's waiting for at the bar. He's talking to the bartender, and then wandering off. And then finally Z has the idea, because tomorrow's the big royal inspection. I want to switch places with Weaver.
Because the royal family will be there.
Exactly. And there's this whole gag where Sly Stallone's like, people go to jail just for listening to people have ideas like this. And everybody's listening and they all lay back down immediately.
Yeah,
like,
oh, shit. Big brother.
But Weaver agrees to do it because he might get hooked up with some sweet worker chicks.
This conversation is so weird.
Think of all the things I've done for you, Weaver. I can't think of anything. Well, think of all the things I could do for you.
That's a good line.
And so anyway, there's the soldier inspection. But during the inspection, after meeting Barbados, who thinks he's hilarious, Z gets sent into battle. At the inspection, they just march right off to fight the termites immediately. So his plan is foiled.
Yeah, Mandibles like giving him like, this is about sacrifice. I'm proud to send you boys into battle. But don't worry, Barbados is going to look out for his funny little friend.
Yeah, they're 5 times our size and they shoot acid from their foreheads. Well, how are we going to win? We're going to overwhelm them with sheer numbers. And of course, there's the Antz marching song. The Antz go marching one by one. Hurrah, hurrah.
The funny thing about this whole thing, this whole situation of the termites being huge that shoot acid and stuff, that's actually the reverse of...
Ants shoot acid out of their foreheads?
Ants are much larger than termites.
Are they?
Yeah, and they also...
They couldn't even get that right.
Certain species of ants use a type of, I don't think they shoot it out of their heads, but they use some type of acid out of their mouth or something.
Oh, they throw up to digest their food outside their bodies.
Yeah.
I learned that from David Cronenberg's The Fly. Oh, the flies do that. Duh.
Oh, but I think it's something similar.
Sure.
But like really it's the inverse, but really this movie needed a scary enemy to fight. And the termites are scary.
I love how fucking stupid I am that I didn't realize my analogy didn't work until I got to the title. And right as I was about to say and realized it wasn't the ant, it was the fly. I learned that about ants from Cronenberg's Oh.
Shit.
But yeah, the termites are fucking terrifying. They reminds me of Starship Troopers.
Z does have a fun line where it's like, why do we have to go to war with them? Why can't we just influence their political process with campaign contributions?
That's what I mean. Those jokes are not for children.
No,
no part about that is funny to an 8-year-old.
No, that is funny precisely to 35 and up year olds.
Yes. But okay. But I guess now that I'm 34, sure. The termite hive is empty at first when they get there after they charge. But then the termites come out and ravage them. They kill a few, but it's a slaughter. All of the termites die, but all of the ants die as well, except for Z.
This is insane because there's like...
Barbados saves him.
Yeah, they're like, the ants have spears, but you see ants like, it reminds me of the scene in Starship Troopers, the first time they like land on Clendathu and they're all like, let's go to war, let's fuck these bugs up. And then they immediately just get like ripped apart by the bugs. It's like that gory opening scene. This movie looks like that. There's only a part where like they're
getting melted by acid and shit.
Yeah, they're getting melted by acid. Like one ant gets picked up by the termite's mandibles and just kind of like flung around.
Yes.
And if the camera then cut, it's implied it would like snap him in half. It's very visceral and violent for a kid's movie.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And the only good bug is a dead bug.
Oh my God.
I got
want to do
lost.
Starship Troopers so bad on the show.
I do want to watch Starship Troopers for the show. I had a guy in my TikTok comments the other day say, I love Starship Troopers. That's what inspired me to sign up for the military. And I just put the yikes emoji.
Yeah. Oh no, you missed the point of that movie by a mile.
It's a movie about fascism.
Oh no.
I didn't know what else to say. Because like I appreciate your service, but at the same time, yikes. You know?
Yeah. That is an awkward thing.
But it cuts to...
I hope he had a good career.
During the carnage, Weaver is working as a worker. He's flirting with Azteca. The boss comes down on him, takes away her rations. And J-Lo I
can give you some of my rations.
She's working it, I'm telling you, as this ant.
You are like sexually attracted to this ant.
I'm not.
I know you are.
I'm just praising J-Lo's work. And then we cut to the aftermath of the carnage, and that's when he finds Barbados's head. Am I hurt bad?
I'm gonna find your body. It's bound to be out there somewhere.
And he looks out at all the dead bodies, and Barbados's last words are, "Think for yourself. Don't spend your whole life taking orders like I did. Individualism is important.
I'm just ahead."
We cut to the general asking.
Good for Danny Glover for getting paid for a solid 3 hours of work, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then he said, "I'm too old for this shit." And then we cut to the general asking Cutter to hurry more. And he reports that both sides were destroyed.
I want double shifts.
but one soldier made it back. And he's like, what? And the signs say welcome home troop because the S is crossed out. Did you see that in the crowd?
No, I didn't see that. That's
It says,
pretty funny.
welcome home troop. And Azteca and Weaver see that it's Z. And Z meets the queen and Bala. And then the general says, this is a dumb joke. He says, I need to debrief the private. And Z says, hold on there. I only just met you. It's a dumb joke, but it's not for kids.
There's a little like, I think it's impossible to do this, right? Just because of the way time works and human life works. But can you imagine if instead of Woody Allen, Z was played by like Groucho Marx?
Not even Groucho Marx. If you could do it with like Ryan Gosling or Ryan Reynolds or any of those like fast talking.
But I like the idea of having like an old Hollywood style, like whipping out quick puns like that.
Whipping out
quick puns. I know we're talking about Woody Allen here, but we're talking about quick puns as well.
Okay.
But like, I just imagine there, because he also has another line where General Mandible's like, the soldier laughs at the face of death. And he's like, well, actually, I generally make belittling comments and snicker behind death's back, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's a funny line, but if you give it to, and yeah, I think a Ryan Reynolds or a Goss.
Yeah, it works in today. I'm just saying if you wanted to make it today, whereas you're talking about if it had been made before computers existed.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, if Groucho Marx, like, if you just pluck him out of time and just
time travel him, just hire him and send him back.
You send a time traveler with a recording device, and you're like, excuse me, Groucho Marx, here's a script about ants. I'm just going to record you for a day or so. If you can just
how are you recording me?
Are you recording, son?
Well, they had sound devices back then.
Record me. I barely know you.
Oh, are you talking about for the talkies? I think there's a future with those. Now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Sometimes in life, we're faced with tough choices. The path forward is not always clear. Like you never know. Sometimes I used to sell cars for a living and I hated that job, but I made good money. I was able to buy a house. I was gone from my family all the time. I would podcast whenever I could. I didn't get to see many movies. I worked every Thursday night. It was terrible, but I was like, I got to do this. I got stuck in the middle class grind where I was like, hey, this is what's right for my family, me to be miserable. We feel like we're stuck. We don't know what to do. So whether you're dealing with decisions around your career, sometimes in a relationship, or anything else, therapy helps you stay connected to what you really want while you navigate life, so you can move forward with confidence and excitement. Trusting yourself to make decisions that align with your values is like anything else. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. And like I said, I had to have a lot of practice, and it was talking through that stuff with someone else that helped me. And that's why you could find a therapist using BetterHelp that meshes with your values and the way that you see life in that perspective, and they can talk you through in a way that you find valuable and that you understand. So you can do it entirely online, get matched with a therapist like this that you enjoy, that you find value in. And if you find that it's not working, you can switch at any time. It's extremely easy to switch it. So just think about that. Think about how close you are to finding a therapist to better your entire life. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/streamingthings today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/streamingthings. Bala recognizes him, outs him as a worker. Everybody starts panicking.
Youch.
The general says, wait, are you cucking me, son?
You say that as a joke, but I would not be surprised if they actually said that in this movie.
In this movie, in the context, no.
Are you cucking me, son?
They think he's taking the princess hostage, which he kind of is. He's grabbing her. He's pulling her. He assaults her for the next 10 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
They fall down the trash hole way outside. She's hailing the guards like, hey, come get me. Fuck this dude. But there's a fucking magnifying glass. That's hilarious. I do love that. But then
it's beautiful.
Ridgway gets incinerated.
Is that his name, Ridgway?
Yeah, because one of the guards is like, Ridgway, move!
Oh no, Ridgway.
He gets completely incinerated. They hide under a leaf after the terror. They start arguing, and he knocks the general like, oh, you're married to this fucking death and carnage obsessed psychopath? You're way better than me. And at this point, he climbs up, sees the monolith, and says, I'm going to Insectopia, and starts trekking toward that direction.
This is where he talks about his erotic fantasies too.
I think so, yes.
This shot.
I think so.
Because I have a note where this is where Sharon Stone's delivery is like really bad. is the whole like, this isn't a mood. You're not listening to me. Like, it's just really rough.
Well, she probably like, think about it. Pixar had only just come out.
Oh, that's why I'm not like placing the blame on her
she
so
thinks
much.
She's doing All Dogs Go to Heaven right now, but even dumber.
Well, even still, like, I still think like whoever's the director in the booth is like, yeah, Sharon Stone said a line, we got it. Like,
yeah, it's 100% their fault. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then she ends up leaving him like, fine, Insectopia is not real. I'm going over here. But she walks on a praying mantis accidentally. And I don't know, but
I thought we were going to get like a cool action scene with like the praying mantis chasing them down. But no, it's just like,
he's just like annoyed.
Get off my back.
Hey,
okay?
Ant, stop off.
Stop it.
And even though he can't protect her, she just doesn't want to be alone. So she joins him, right? So the queen orders the general to get her daughter back. And the workers are gossiping about Z. Oh, we got a choice? What? So Z's unintentionally starting a revolution. And again, I can't stress enough how much this movie is not for kids. One of the worker bees or one of the worker ants says, it's the workers who control the means of production. Like, it's just straight Marxist theory and shit. And this isn't one of those subtle Pixar jokes that like the kids can giggle at, but the adults will laugh at on another level.
Yeah.
Like this is just for adults. And I think if this movie was just PG-13 and was just an animated critique of capitalism and fascism and stuff for adults, it would be a great movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's playing to two different audiences. It's because Shrek came out and Shrek was
Shrek had a brilliant innuendo. Exactly.
Yeah, and Shrek was like really what brought DreamWorks to the next level of animation.
And that's 3 years from now.
Yeah, and that's when they really kind of, I think, settled on the formula that works of how do we have the innuendo, how do we keep parents engaged, how do we appeal to kids at the same time. Whereas this movie, I feel like they didn't quite know what they were doing yet with that. Yeah. So they were just throwing shit at the wall.
Spielberg started DreamWorks, right?
Yes.
And eventually
DreamWorks
sold
is Spielberg's thing.
Yeah. So the princess asks him to take her back again after they find water. He gets trapped in a globule of water, and then they both do, and they fall off a leaf, and he gets into a leaf boat, and he's like, look, I promise I'll take it back. If there's no Insectopia, I just got to go see it. And she's like, okay, deal.
Gotta try.
Back at the colony, the revolution's heating up. We want Z.
We want Z.
They're singing John Lennon, which I thought was funny.
Give Z a chance.
All we are saying is give Z a chance.
It's pretty good.
He sang that on the bed with Yoko, right? Is that when he did that? I think so.
Yeah.
When he was doing his protests.
Yeah.
The general delivers propaganda against Z, which work.
Where is he now?
Yeah.
I haven't even had the pleasure of meeting him once.
I think Z's got a point. There's a lot to this. We need to unionize. I don't know why we're building this tunnel, but we're working too many long hours. We need to be focused on other things, like ant welfare.
Also, I'm not a big fan of the term colony. I'm very against colonization. I just want to point that out. But we can cross that bridge when we get there.
It's all just semantics.
But you know, yeah, the general's like, you know, Z doesn't give a damn about us. But hey, guys, you are building this thing. You are the heroes of the story. And if you finish it, guess what? Y'all get a day off. And at that point, everyone's like, yay! Fuck Z, days off.
It's the equivalent of the pizza party at the office.
Right.
But you know who else deserves a pizza party, Steve?
Who's that?
I think our patrons do.
Oh my God, I'm so proud of you that you did that. Holy shit.
This month for July, thank you to all of our big patrons. Stanton Valentino, Brett X, Emily Scarano. Is it 10?
What?
Is it Brett X or Brett 10?
I don't know. I said Brad X.
Oh, it's like okay. Brett X, Emily Scarano, Lil Tickler, Svento 7, Pills, baby, Jay Scramey, A.K. Ashley Ray, Alan Tomlinson, Wendy O'Loughlin, Jason Hawkins, Trey Barrera, Conrad, David Malfara, Kaylee Simpson, Professor Beth R.N., Rabbit Dog, Anna Barbie Carr, Jose Ruben Cruz Rodriguez, Alexis Adler, Thomas Alexander, Emmy, Joe Velez, Valerie John Collins, Amanda King, Sun Living Mortal, and Andrew Gray. Whew. To Dinklage Morgoon, Jen Robinson, Kate Kloop, Kalisha Reeves, Kiki Newton, Aaron Armstrong, Kevin Strother, Jeanette Murphy, Casey McCain, and Enza.
Thank you all so much.
The muscles from Brussels.
The muscles from Brussels herself, Enza. Oh my gosh. But thank you to them and all of the other patron supporters who support us on Patreon.
We cut back to Bala. She finds a giant thermos. It's a whole ass picnic. It's a picnic. It's a picnic. They find a whole ass picnic, and they're like, "Oh my god,
it's Insectopia!
It's Insectopia!
It's real!"
But then they run into these two hoity-toity bees.
I think they're wasps.
Are Are they what? Are they Yellow Jackets maybe?
Oh, they could be Yellow Jackets. Buzz, buzz, buzz.
They're Euro trash. It's Muffy and Chippy. And Muffy is like, they're two rich people, and they're the type of characters where like the wife likes to pretend to be a philanthropist, whereas the husband has no scruples.
Let me get you some food, darling. Stay right there.
Yeah, because he can't get to the sandwich because of the force field, aka saran wrap.
Yeah, the force field's funny.
But then Muffy gets squished by a fly swatter.
That's so fucked up.
It's so violent.
Oh my God, this woman that was like, I'm going to get you some food. And like, they're in love and they're adorable.
But then when the swatter lifts up,
killed.
Chippy's like, Muffy! Like, it's so bad. It's funny to an adult, right? But it's terrifying if you're a kid. I think so. But then Bala ends up getting stuck in
I felt bad for Chippy.
Yeah. He gets drunk after this and just becomes like a drunk fighter pilot. Like
fly you.
Like the guy from The Mummy. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's basically who he becomes.
Come on, boys. I'm joining you.
Bala gets stuck in the gum on the bottom of the shoe. Z jumps on the other shoe, and this is his arc. He starts to become brave enough to help her, and he rides the shoe all the way to wherever the fuck the other kid's going.
You know what I do appreciate about this movie?
Huh.
Is the product placement.
The Mountain Dew.
There's the Mountain Dew. There's the Pepsi. They get the shoe is a Reebok that they're draping on them. Like very obvious product placement.
Got to get that money to make this new expensive animation work.
Got to.
Then he gets stuck to the gum with her, and that's actually
who the hell is that?
It's really cool though, like the POV shot, how scary that would be. Like you think you're gonna get crushed every time, but it's kind of like a festival ride.
Yeah, there's even one shot that reminded me of like, oh man, that would be a scary roller coaster ride at Kings Island or something.
What did you mean? Who is that though?
It's when the penny, get the penny to like scrape them off, and like they see the Abraham Lincoln on the penny, and there's just this weird like, who the hell is that?
I guess it's funny. It's funny when you say it. Yeah,
because it makes no fucking sense.
He gets scraped off with a penny and thrown into like the garbage area, right? Cut back to Weaver, who's being tortured. And the general calls the princess the queen, which is a good, that's a red flag for his future plans.
Don't tell that tight ass anything, Weaver.
And then they bring Azteca in, and that's when he crumbles. And Weaver mentions Insectopia, and the Cutter says it does not exist. And General says, yes, it does. Exist. I'll tell you the coordinates. I'll brief you on he says brief like 400 times in this movie. I'll brief you on the coordinates. And now you see how dangerous individualism can be. Autobots. Z finds the real Insectopia. It's the garbage. Of course it is. And during that,
Insectopia is garbage.
That's what I'm saying. That's garbage. Utopia to insects. They get the caterpillar roller coaster ride through the apple and all the food to eat.
They did a Lady and the Tramp, but with like I
think it was a bubble of soda. Yeah, because he burps.
Yeah. They make powdered donut angels.
That was cocaine.
Oh, sorry. Cocaine.
And the general briefs the troops on the plan to charge Insectopia, right? And kill all of everybody in the colony. I don't know. It's a really terrible plan. The way to start a new colony is to kill the entire colony. During this, though, it's intercut with the montage of the Insectopia stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then the last thing we see is like at night, they're just kind of hanging out, and we see like a mosquito and a fly and something else. This stuff tastes like crap.
It is crap.
It is crap.
Yum.
Whatever. And the mosquito and the ladybug are having this like stoner conversation as Colonel Cutter shows up, where they're like, what if there's like a whole bigger world, man?
That's so big.
Like, we don't even know about it.
Imperceptible to us, man.
Wow, deep.
Whoa.
And Christopher Walken shows up, and where is Bala?
I'm looking for Bala. She's a princess. Better than you is what I'm saying. She's a better person because you're trash.
She's right there. She's sneaking right behind him. She says that Z is dead, and he kidnaps Bala, takes off because Z was out looking for firewood. And then drunk Chippy pops out of nowhere and says, I'll take you over there. My wife's dead. I don't have anything else to do.
I'll give... Yeah, what does he calls himself like a soil relocation engineer? Because he's trying like, how am I going to get there? Come on, let's be rational about this. I'm only a soil relocation engineer.
That's right.
A fun little title.
And then, which is actually clever because we do that with inane jobs, like to make them sound better. We give them these long bureaucratic titles to make people feel better about their low wages and long hours, right? But then,
assistant to the manager.
Exactly. Mandible subdues the princess when she gets back and prepares to stage his coup, presumably because the way ants work, he needs her to lead the colony and make more ants.
Yeah.
But, just needs her physically. He's just going to keep her captive the whole time and be the real ruler or whatever.
Gross.
Right? Yes. I didn't want to. That's why I stumbled.
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah.
He's a gross man.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, he's a gross ant.
So Z, when he gets back, he returns. They're right in the middle of the tunnel opening ceremony. He finds Bala and the mega tunnel drowning plans.
Okay, so the Z getting back into the colony is so fucking funny to me because he's trying to walk in.
Because everybody's so dumb and he's just like, tunnel opening ceremony. Well,
I love the progression of it because he walks in and they're like, hey, what are you doing here? You can't get here. Oh, I don't know. And like, yeah, the tunnel ceremony's over there. Sure. And he finds someone else. Hey, what are you doing here? I'm looking for the tunnel. It's over that way. Hey, what are you doing here? I'm here for the tunnel. He's just progressively getting more and more confident with everybody because they're all idiots and just eventually tunnel ceremony, leave me alone.
Yeah. And they're all like, oh shit, what are we going to do?
Okay. All right.
Because ants are like that, right? They just follow orders. Yeah, that is a good sequence. But he finds the tunnel opening plans and how they're going to try to drown everybody. And that's the whole idea, right? And that's the tunnel they've been building to this whole time. And we cut to Mandible's speech about a pure colony. Because again, eugenics. He's the Hitler of ants. And then Z goes for the diggers to try to stop them from releasing all the water and killing everybody. But Bala goes for her mother to try to tell her at the same time.
Yeah.
But he's unable to stop the guys from digging because that little boss guy's a piece of shit and like throws his pickaxe into the wall.
Weenie.
He's a weenie, real weenie.
What a weenie.
So the water flows. They start running, and right as the queen's being told at the same time.
He throws an axe, and it like creates a spurt of water, and like, uh-oh, and then a second later, there's just a giant wave of water.
Well, hey, man, it's the straw that broke the camel's back, man. One crack in the foundation, and it's all over. And the queen's like, don't panic. And everybody immediately panics. But he's got all the exits blocked. So it was all to no avail. At this point, Z makes a speech. He remembers like the ball that they formed at the beginning.
Be the ball.
We have to work together. It's socialism. Build a ladder. So they form like an ant ladder all the way to the top, and he's digging a way out. And at the same time, like fucking Weaver's drowning at the bottom because he's the base.
Yeah. They do him up at ladder.
And Mandible's outside preaching to his fascist soldiers. But then at the last second, they break through. And Cutter punches Mandible.
I love this because he's given this Mandible's like, today is a proud moment where we get rid of the weak element of our colony. And then at that moment, they punch through and he's like, what the hell is that? And Cutter says, I think that's the weak element, sir.
Yeah, with Walken's voice. It's awesome. So yeah, Cutter punches Mandible and like, this is the colony, right? And Z saves Cutter.
I am the colony. That's what Mandible says.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right before he does his like big dive.
Well, I was trying to figure out why I said Z saves Cutter, but that's right. He's going to attack Cutter and Z jumps him, like pushes him out of the way.
Yeah.
And he's the one that's knocked into the hole with General Mandible. And Mandible hits like the wood and falls to his death, right?
Yeah.
And Z hits the water. Okay, I'm just making sure I got this kids movie finale correct.
And I think in Mandible's mind, at least, maybe he's tackling Cutter because he knows Cutter can fly. So even if they fall in the hole, he'll still like hold on.
I don't think he thought about it like that. He was just enraged.
I'm just
Why is Cutter the only one that can fly? Can any ants fly like that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, some ants can fly. Yeah.
I mean, obviously they could. They wouldn't get that wrong in this movie, like term ants being too big, right?
Can ants?
There's got to be a species that can fly. It's
I'm
in the
pretty
movie.
sure they fly. Yeah. Yeah, a type of ant you see flying will depend on where you are. For example, in the woodland, you see wood ants. All ants require good weather to fly with no rain or wind.
Of course.
Yeah.
Just like humans and airplanes.
Yeah.
Ground control, we're going to have to delay. We've got some cloud cover.
Storms coming up ahead. Thank you for choosing ants.
I'm sitting in the wind.
Is William Shatner the captain?
Yeah.
Old Bill Shatner, I hardly know her.
Oh, Andy would be so happy. At this point, Z is it all happens very quickly. It's all summarily finished, but Z is rescued. Youch!
Youch.
My favorite line in the movie, I don't know how they wrote this. It's so genius. You the ant!
Yes. You the ant.
You the ant.
And I think the other thing I love is when Azteca meets up with Weaver. The thing he says is, "Baby love."
I know, it made me feel bad because
that's what you do.
Yeah. We call each other baby love.
But it's funny coming from Sylvester Stallone.
I wish I'm going to say it in his voice from now on.
Baby love.
Yo, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yo. Baby love.
It's weird to say baby love in his voice, isn't it?
You the ant.
You the ant. God damn it, Thomas Alexander.
Yeah, he's got a new therapist, and he's talking about how, like, hey, life is good, and we find out they were in New York this whole time. We get some animated Twin Towers in the background. Always good to see.
We didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Those stick out like a sore thumb.
But yeah, that concludes
Antz.
maybe the wildest movie we've had to watch for this series of chosen films. It's up there. It's up there for sure.
There's no doubt. If you want to make us watch a wild movie, go to patreon.com/streamingthings and subscribe at the correct tier, and you can do that. We've got a bunch on the list already. We're
actually booked up through December on those.
We'll be doing at least one a week, but don't let that dissuade you. You know, we might get through those faster than you think. We've got, what's next week? Cabin in the Woods?
Cabin in the Woods is next week.
I'm excited for that. It's been a while since I've watched that movie. So that's what's coming up. We love you all. Thanks for listening, for doing the damn thing. Thank you to everybody who's been sharing our episodes on social media a lot. I see that, and I see you, like James Cameron would say, and I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody for just being you, just for being you. That's all the time we have for right now. My name is Kit Laser.
And I'm Steve.
And this is Streaming Things. Happy streaming, damn it.
You the ant.
You the ant.
You the ant.
God damn it.